What if the person you trusted most was hiding a secret so dark it would destroy everything you held dear? In the quiet suburbs of Dallas, USA, a husband's forbidden affair with his wife's own sister spiraled into a shocking crime. This twisted true crime story will reveal how love, lies, and betrayal ended in a brutal murder that left an entire family in ruins. Michael Harrison, a 42-year-old successful real estate agent, was a well-respected figure in his community. Known for his charm and professionalism, he seemed to embody the ideal family man. To everyone around him, Michael presented himself as a devoted husband, always making time for family gatherings and celebrating special occasions with enthusiasm. He was the type of person who would surprise his wife with romantic dinners and thoughtful gifts, reinforcing the image of a perfect marriage. Friends often admired their relationship, believing they had a deep, unwavering bond. However, beneath this polished exterior lay a dangerous secret that would ultimately unravel everything he had built. Sarah Harrison, a 40-year-old dedicated elementary school teacher, was a devoted partner and caring mother who poured her heart into her family. Known for her warm personality and nurturing nature, she was the glue that held the family together. Sarah actively participated in her children's lives, volunteering at school events and organizing family outings, always striving to create cherished memories. Friends often admired her commitment to her marriage and family, believing that she and Michael shared a deep, unshakable bond. Unbeknownst to her, however, a dark betrayal was unfolding within her own family, shattering the idyllic life she believed they were living. Megan Thompson, a 35-year-old free-spirited artist, was known for her vibrant personality and adventurous spirit. As Sarah Harrison's younger sister, she always looked up to her sibling and admired her dedication to family life. Megan had a passion for creativity and often expressed herself through her artwork, seeking inspiration from the world around her. However, her longing for excitement and independence often led her down a different path. When she began an illicit affair with Michael, her life took a darker turn. Torn between her love for her sister and her attraction to Michael, Megan became entangled in a web of deceit that would ultimately lead to a tragic outcome. Her choices not only devastated Sarah but also triggered a chain of events that would haunt the entire family for years to come. On the surface, the Harrison family appeared to lead a blissfully normal life. Michael and Sarah hosted lively family dinners, took their children on weekend adventures, and celebrated holidays with enthusiasm. Their home in a charming neighborhood was often filled with laughter, and friends admired their close-knit bond. Sarah was actively involved in her children's lives, from helping with homework to organizing playdates, while Michael was seen as the supportive husband who cherished his family. However, beneath this idyllic facade lay a hidden betrayal that was slowly unraveling their lives. The late-night phone calls, secretive glances, and unexplained absences began to cast a shadow over their once happy home. Sarah, blissfully unaware, continued to believe in the strength of their marriage, not realizing that the love and trust she cherished were being undermined by Michael's affair with her sister. This contrast between their outward appearances and the dark reality hidden beneath created a tense undercurrent that would soon explode into tragedy. The Harrison family lived in the vibrant city of Dallas, USA, known for its lively music scene and picturesque parks. Their charming suburban home, with its white picket fence and beautifully landscaped yard, exuded an air of warmth and happiness. The neighborhood was filled with families, children playing outside, and friendly neighbors waving hello. Sarah and Michael often hosted gatherings, inviting friends and family over for barbecues and celebrations. Their home was a hub of activity, where laughter and love seemed to flourish. It was the kind of place where everyone believed the family enjoyed a picture-perfect life. However, it was during these seemingly joyful family moments that the affair began to quietly develop. As Emily frequently visited her sister's home, the lines of loyalty began to blur. The innocent conversations over coffee, the shared secrets between sisters, and the casual encounters with Michael became fertile ground for attraction, gradually leading to a betrayal that would shatter the family's facade of happiness. The affair between Michael and his sister-in-law, Megan, began innocently enough, cloaked in the guise of friendship and familial bonding. Initially, their interactions were lighthearted, sharing laughs during family gatherings, exchanging text messages about everyday life and collaborating on art projects. However, as they spent more time together, a deeper emotional connection began to form, igniting a passion that neither had anticipated. What started as flirtation quickly spiraled into a clandestine relationship, conducted in secrecy and shadowed by guilt. The thrill of their forbidden romance fueled their encounters, but as their emotions intensified, so did the complexity of their situation. The stakes grew higher. Michael struggled with his loyalty to Sarah while grappling with his feelings for Megan. Meanwhile, Megan found herself torn between her love for her sister and her desire for Michael. As their secret escalated, so did the risks involved. The once innocent moments became fraught with tension, with furtive glances and stolen kisses overshadowing family events. The couple's attempts to keep their affair hidden became increasingly precarious, leading to a volatile situation where the potential for discovery loomed large. This mix of heightened emotions, deceit, and impending revelation set the stage for a tragic confrontation that would forever alter the lives of everyone involved. As the affair between Michael and Megan continued, the dynamics within the Harrison family began to shift dramatically. Michael's once warm and attentive demeanor became increasingly erratic. He often found himself lost in thought, his mind preoccupied with secrets that gnawed at his conscience. Friends and family began to notice subtle changes in his behavior. He was more withdrawn during family gatherings, distracted during conversations, and frequently distracted by his phone, which he now treated with an air of secrecy. Sarah, ever the attentive wife, sensed that something was amiss. The tension in their home became palpable. She would catch Michael glancing at his phone or texting late into the night, but when she inquired, he brushed her off with vague excuses. This lack of transparency ignited suspicion, causing friction between them. The atmosphere that once buzzed with love and laughter was now thick with unspoken words and hidden truths. Megan, too, felt the weight of the situation. What had once been a thrilling escape became a source of anxiety. The fear of being discovered loomed large over their secret rendezvous, and every shared moment was tinged with the possibility of disaster. As the affair deepened, the stakes grew ever higher, leaving Michael and Megan trapped in a web of deceit that was on the verge of unraveling. The inevitable clash of emotions, secrets, and loyalties was fast approaching, setting the stage for a tragic confrontation that would change everything. As the affair continued to unfold in secrecy, signs of trouble began to surface, and the cracks in the Harrison family's facade became increasingly visible. Friends and neighbors, once oblivious to the underlying tension, started to notice the strange interactions between Michael and Megan. Casual conversations that once flowed easily became awkward and charged, filled with unspoken words and sidelong glances. At social gatherings, Michael would sometimes lose himself in thought, his laughter feeling forced, while Megan would shift nervously, avoiding eye contact with anyone, especially Sarah. Sarah, with her keen intuition, began to sense that something was amiss. Her husband's growing distance and the subtle changes in his demeanor weighed heavily on her heart. She noticed how he would often receive texts that made him tense up, his body language shifting as he hurried to respond in private. The nagging feeling that she was missing something important began to consume her, leading to sleepless nights filled with worry and doubt. As Michael and Megan's relationship deepened, the secrecy that once provided an adrenaline rush turned into a desperate need to conceal the truth. The weight of their deception became unbearable, heightening tensions within the family. Michael found himself torn between his love for Sarah and his reckless attraction to Megan, while Megan grappled with guilt and the fear of losing her sister forever. The stakes were rising, and every small slip, every misstep, felt like it could trigger a disastrous revelation, pushing the three of them closer to a breaking point. The impending disaster loomed ever larger, threatening to unravel their lives in a moment of reckoning that no one was prepared for. In June 2022, the tranquility of the Harrison family home in Austin was shattered when Sarah was found dead in the living room, her lifeless body sprawled across the floor. The scene that greeted first responders was one of horror and disbelief. Michael, who had been at work when the tragic discovery was made, rushed home, his face contorted with shock and grief as he feigned devastation at the loss of his beloved wife. Michael quickly attempted to stage the scene, arranging the room to suggest an unfortunate accident. He claimed that Sarah had slipped and fallen while reaching for a book on the high shelf, a story that seemed plausible at first glance. However, investigators were not easily convinced. The atmosphere in the house felt eerily calm, an unsettling contrast to the chaos of the situation. Subtle inconsistencies began to emerge as the police pieced together the events leading up to that fateful day. As detectives examined the scene more closely, they discovered evidence that pointed to a much darker reality. Signs of a struggle were evident. Items were out of place, and there were faint traces of a scuffle that contradicted Michael's version of events. Forensic analysis revealed that Sarah had not simply fallen. She had suffered multiple injuries consistent with a violent confrontation. The chilling truth began to seep through the carefully constructed facade, leading investigators to suspect that this was no mere accident, but a calculated act of murder. The depths of Michael's betrayal came into focus, revealing the extent of his desperation to hide the affair and maintain control over the crumbling life he had built. The gruesome reality of Sarah's murder shocked the community and would soon unravel the lives of everyone involved, leading to an investigation that would expose secrets no one was prepared to face. The crime scene in the Harrison family home was hauntingly surreal. As the sun began to set over Austin, casting long shadows through the living room windows, the once warm space was now filled with an unsettling stillness. The vibrant colors of the decor, the family photos lining the walls, and the cozy furniture that once radiated love and laughter now felt grotesque against the backdrop of tragedy. Sarah's body lay motionless on the polished hardwood floor, an image that would forever be etched in the minds of the first responders and investigators who entered the scene. Her arms were sprawled at awkward angles, and a look of shock remained etched on her face, as if she were still grappling with the betrayal that had led to this horrific moment. Nearby, a shattered picture frame lay in disarray, the glass glimmering like shards of a broken life scattered across the floor. The atmosphere was thick with an eerie silence, interrupted only by the distant sirens and the quiet murmurs of neighbors who had gathered outside, their faces pale with disbelief. Whispers spread like wildfire as they learned of the tragedy that had unfolded within those walls. Questions hung in the air. How could this happen to a family that seemed so perfect? What had driven a husband to such unspeakable acts? As detectives combed through the scene, the shocking details began to emerge. Signs of a struggle were evident: upturned cushions on the couch, a knocked-over lamp, and faint smudges of blood on the edge of a coffee table. It was clear that this was no accident. The struggle had been fierce, and the desperation was palpable. The investigators exchanged glances, a mix of confusion and anger brewing within them as they pieced together the grim reality of what had transpired. Neighbors peered through the windows, their faces a blend of curiosity and horror as they witnessed the police swarming the house, their uniforms contrasting sharply with the inviting home they once knew. The truth that would soon be uncovered, a husband's betrayal and a chilling murder, cast a dark shadow over the neighborhood, transforming a once-cherished family into a cautionary tale of trust shattered and lives forever altered. The police investigation into Sarah Harrison's murder was spearheaded by Detective Angela Reyes and her partner, Detective Mark Thompson, both seasoned members of the Austin Police Department. Detective Reyes, known for her sharp instincts and relentless pursuit of the truth, had a reputation for cracking even the most complex cases. Detective Thompson, with his years of experience and a keen analytical mind, complemented her investigative style perfectly. Together, they formed a formidable team, committed to uncovering the reality behind Sarah's tragic death. From the outset, the detectives were met with a web of deceit and emotional turmoil as they began their inquiry. Michael's initial demeanor, devastated and cooperative, did little to alleviate their suspicions. As they delved deeper into the circumstances surrounding Sarah's death, it became evident that there was much more beneath the surface. Detective Reyes started by interviewing family members and close friends, piecing together a timeline of events leading up to the murder. Many expressed disbelief that Michael could be involved in such a heinous act, emphasizing how he had always portrayed himself as a loving husband. However, inconsistencies began to emerge in his account of the day Sarah died. Detective Thompson focused on the digital evidence, examining Michael's phone records and text messages. It didn't take long for him to uncover the affair between Michael and his sister-in-law, Megan. The discovery of flirtatious messages and incriminating exchanges painted a vivid picture of betrayal that fueled a motive for murder. The detectives also learned about the growing tension in the family as whispers of the affair began to circulate among friends, putting immense pressure on Michael to keep the secret from coming to light. As the investigation progressed, the detectives interviewed Megan, who was initially reluctant to share her involvement in the affair. However, under the weight of the evidence and the emotional gravity of the situation, she eventually opened up about the complexities of her relationship with Michael. Her revelations about their clandestine meetings and the mounting stress of hiding the affair added layers to the investigation. With each new piece of evidence, the detectives unraveled a tragic tale of love, betrayal, and desperation that ultimately led to Sarah's murder. The investigation, filled with twists and turns, would soon reveal the lengths to which Michael would go to protect his secrets, culminating in a confrontation that would shake the very foundation of their family. As the investigation unfolded, forensic evidence began to paint a grim picture of the events leading up to Sarah Harrison's death. Initially, the evidence collected at the crime scene appeared inconclusive, with the circumstances surrounding her demise shrouded in confusion. However, as forensic experts meticulously examined the scene and the evidence, inconsistencies began to surface, directing suspicion squarely toward Michael. One of the first clues came from the blood analysis. While Sarah's body showed signs of multiple injuries, the forensic team noted unusual patterns of bruising that suggested a violent struggle rather than a simple accident. The locations of the bruises and lacerations indicated that Sarah had fought back, raising questions about the nature of her last moments. The presence of her blood in various areas of the living room contradicted Michael's narrative that she had simply fallen. Additionally, investigators discovered traces of hair and fibers on Sarah's clothing that did not belong to her. Forensic analysis revealed that these fibers matched Michael's clothing, which suggested a physical confrontation rather than an accident. This critical piece of evidence became a turning point in the investigation, as it established a direct link between Michael and the scene of the crime. The detectives also conducted a thorough analysis of Michael's phone records, which revealed a pattern of calls and messages exchanged with Megan leading up to Sarah's death. The timing of these messages raised further red flags. Not only did they indicate that the affair had escalated, but they also hinted at a possible motive for murder, fear of exposure, and the desire to eliminate any obstacles that stood in the way of their relationship. Moreover, the initial autopsy findings uncovered that Sarah had a significant amount of alcohol in her system at the time of her death. This revelation raised questions about whether she had been incapacitated during the confrontation, suggesting that Michael may have taken advantage of the situation. As the forensic team delved deeper into Sarah's toxicology report, they found traces of prescription medication that, when combined with the alcohol, could have impaired her ability to defend herself, further implicating Michael in a premeditated act of violence. The combination of forensic evidence and digital footprints gradually painted a damning portrait of Michael's involvement. The inconsistencies in his story, coupled with the tangible evidence gathered at the scene, pointed to foul play, ultimately leading to the chilling realization that a husband had betrayed not only his wife, but the very family he had claimed to love. The detectives were now determined to bring the truth to light and seek justice for Sarah, unraveling a web of deception that had cost her life. As the investigation into Sarah Harrison's murder progressed, Detective Angela Reyes and Detective Mark Thompson conducted a series of pivotal interviews with family members, friends, and acquaintances, revealing the dark secrets hidden within the Harrison family. They began with Michael's parents, who portrayed him as a devoted husband and father, but their discomfort grew when discussing Sarah's increasing withdrawal from the family. This prompted the detectives to dig deeper into the marital dynamics. Next, Sarah's parents expressed their disbelief that Michael could be involved in such a heinous act, but revealed that Sarah had voiced concerns about Michael's late-night work meetings. Friends of Sarah echoed these worries, noting her growing insecurity and unease during recent gatherings. These conversations painted a picture of a woman increasingly distressed by her husband's behavior. The interview with Megan, Sarah's sister, proved to be the most revealing. Initially presenting herself as grief-stricken, she eventually admitted to the affair with Michael, which had started months before Sarah's murder. Under the detective's careful questioning, Megan described the escalating tension within the household, especially during an argument she overheard between Michael and Sarah about his late nights. This confrontation hinted at a motive for murder, Michael's desperation to eliminate the threat of his wife's discovery. The interviews unraveled a tragic narrative of betrayal and desperation, bringing the detectives closer to uncovering the truth behind Sarah's death. The trial of Michael Harrison unfolded in a tense atmosphere, with a palpable mix of grief and anger permeating the courtroom. As the prosecution laid out its case, emotional testimonies from family members, friends, and Megan, the wife's sister, revealed the depths of betrayal and the tragic consequences that followed. During her testimony, Sarah's mother stood before the court, her voice trembling with emotion as she recounted the moment she learned of her daughter's death. Tears streamed down her face as she described the close-knit family gatherings they once enjoyed, highlighting how Michael had been a beloved part of their lives. "I never imagined he could do something so cruel to my daughter," she said, her heartache evident. Her anguish resonated throughout the courtroom, leaving many in tears. Sarah's close friend followed, sharing intimate details about the conversations they had leading up to the tragedy. She spoke of Sarah's growing anxiety over Michael's behavior and her fears of what she suspected might be happening between him and Megan. "Sarah confided in me, saying she felt like she was losing her husband," she recalled, her voice breaking. She was a devoted wife and mother, and all she wanted was to keep her family together. The friend's testimony painted a picture of a woman battling her own insecurities, unaware of the true extent of the betrayal that lay just beneath the surface. When it was Megan's turn to take the stand, the tension in the courtroom escalated. She was visibly shaken as she recalled her affair with Michael. "I loved him," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I never wanted this to happen." Her conflicting emotions were evident as she grappled with the guilt of her actions and the impact they had on her sister's life. Megan described the events leading up to Sarah's murder, detailing the fear that had taken hold of her when she realized that their secret was on the verge of being exposed. "I thought I could manage it," she said, tears streaming down her face. But everything spiraled out of control. The prosecution highlighted how the affair had shattered not only Sarah's life but the entire family. Each testimony added weight to the narrative of betrayal, building a case against Michael that was both compelling and heart-wrenching. As family members and friends recounted their memories of Sarah and the joy she brought to their lives, the courtroom felt the gravity of her loss. The emotional toll of the trial weighed heavily on everyone present, underscoring the devastating consequences of a husband's secret affair with his wife's sister and the fallout that followed. In the emotionally charged courtroom, the clash between the defense and prosecution unfolded with intense drama, each side striving to shape the narrative of Michael Harrison's actions and intentions. The defense attorney argued vehemently that Sarah's murder was not premeditated, suggesting it was a tragic outcome of a heated argument that spiraled out of control. Michael loved his wife, he asserted, his voice steady as he appealed to the jury's emotions. What happened that night was not the result of a cold-blooded calculation. It was a moment of panic, a desperate reaction to an unbearable situation. However, the prosecution countered this narrative with compelling evidence and emotional testimony, painting a starkly different picture of Michael. They presented a timeline of events leading up to Sarah's death, highlighting his erratic behavior and the mounting evidence of his affair with Megan. During cross-examination, the prosecution brought out text messages and phone records that revealed Michael's deceitful nature, showing how he juggled lies and manipulation to maintain both relationships. This was not a moment of panic. It was a series of calculated choices, the lead prosecutor stated, his voice rising with passion. Michael Harrison chose to betray his wife, and when faced with the consequences of that betrayal, he chose to silence her forever. Dramatic moments unfolded when the prosecution called forth a witness who had seen Michael in the hours leading up to Sarah's murder. The witness recounted how Michael had appeared calm and collected, even joking with friends, despite the brewing storm at home. He acted like nothing was wrong, the witness testified, casting doubt on the defense's claims of panic. This revelation sent ripples through the courtroom, as jurors exchanged glances, grappling with the implication of Michael's composed demeanor amid the chaos. As the trial progressed, The prosecution also unveiled damning forensic evidence, suggesting that the murder had been planned rather than impulsive. They highlighted discrepancies in Michael's alibi, revealing that he had been unaccounted for during critical hours the night Sarah died. The tension escalated when they revealed that a neighbor had overheard raised voices coming from the Harrison household shortly before the murder, hinting at a violent confrontation. The defense attempted to undermine the prosecution's case by suggesting that Sarah had been the aggressive party in their relationship, implying that her emotional turmoil contributed to the tragic events. However, this approach backfired, drawing skepticism from the jury, who were increasingly swayed by the prosecution's portrayal of Michael as a man who had not only betrayed his wife, but had calculatedly eliminated the threat she posed to his secret life. As the trial neared its conclusion, the courtroom was thick with anticipation, with jurors visibly moved by the testimonies and evidence presented. The prosecution's argument resonated deeply, and the contrast between Michael's facade as a loving husband and the cold reality of his actions became increasingly clear. In the dramatic moments that followed, the jury would ultimately have to decide whether Michael Harrison was a man driven by desperation or a calculating murderer who betrayed not just his wife, but the very essence of family. As the jury filed back into the courtroom, a heavy silence fell over the packed room, filled with anxious family members and friends awaiting the outcome of the trial. The foreman stood, and with a steady voice announced, "We, the jury, find the defendant, Michael Harrison, guilty of the murder of Sarah Harrison." The words echoed in the chamber, and gasps of disbelief rippled through the crowd. Michael's expression remained eerily calm as he heard the verdict, betraying no hint of remorse or emotion. His eyes scanned the room, landing on his family, whose faces were etched with shock and grief. For many, the verdict was a bittersweet relief, a glimmer of justice in the wake of profound tragedy. As the judge prepared to set a date for sentencing, the atmosphere was charged with the weight of the decision. Sarah's family, though devastated by the loss, found solace in knowing that Michael would be held accountable for his actions. The courtroom erupted into whispers, some expressing relief and others mourning the loss of a beloved daughter and sister, forever impacted by the betrayal that had led to this moment. In 2023, Michael Harrison stood before the judge for sentencing, the courtroom once again filled with the somber faces of family and friends, all eager to see justice served. As the judge delivered the sentence, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Given the nature of this crime, the betrayal of trust, and the brutality of your actions, the judge stated firmly, "I hereby sentence you to 30 years to life in prison." The verdict echoed throughout the chamber, and while some in the audience expressed a sense of relief that Michael would face a lengthy prison term, others were left grappling with the enormity of their loss. The judge's words reflected not only the severity of the crime, but also the profound impact it had on Sarah's family, forever altered by the deception and violence that shattered their lives. Michael's expression remained unreadable, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lay beneath his facade as he was led away, leaving behind a family forever marked by tragedy. The aftermath of Sarah Harrison's murder left her family shattered, the impact of the crime reverberating through their lives like a relentless storm. The betrayal from Michael, someone they once considered family, cut deep, leaving scars that would never fully heal. Sarah's parents struggled to cope with the loss of their daughter, grappling with a sense of betrayal from a man they had welcomed into their family. The once close-knit family was now fractured, burdened by guilt and anger towards Michael, and the haunting questions of why this tragedy occurred. Sarah's sister, Megan, found herself at the center of the turmoil, her own actions leading to a devastating rift within the family. Once a trusted sibling, she became a pariah, facing harsh judgment and ostracism from relatives and friends who struggled to reconcile their love for Sarah with their feelings of betrayal by Megan. The guilt weighed heavily on her, driving a wedge between her and her family, who could not comprehend how she could become involved in such a horrific betrayal. The community of Springfield was similarly affected, engulfed in shock and disbelief. Neighbors who once viewed the Harrisons as a picture-perfect family were left grappling with the reality of the crime that unfolded in their midst. Rumors and speculation swirled, and the once vibrant neighborhood became a place of whispered conversations and judgment. Community members struggled to come to terms with the brutal nature of the crime, leading to a palpable sense of distrust among residents as they questioned their own relationships and the facades people maintained. Support groups emerged in the wake of the tragedy, where those affected could gather to share their grief and seek solace in one another's stories. But for many, the pain remained raw and unresolved, a constant reminder of the betrayal that had shattered lives and relationships. The community held vigils in Sarah's honor, paying tribute to her life and seeking to heal from the wounds left by the horrific events. As time passed, the Harrison family would come to symbolize a cautionary tale of betrayal, heartbreak, and the profound effects of violence within families. The loss of Sarah and the consequences of Michael's actions served as a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the devastating impact of hidden secrets. The echoes of that tragic night would linger in their hearts forever, a testament to a love destroyed by betrayal. The community of Springfield was left in shock by the betrayal and murder that unfolded within a seemingly ordinary family. The once vibrant neighborhood, known for its friendly faces and tight-knit relationships, became engulfed in an atmosphere of disbelief and unease. Residents who had witnessed the Harrisons' family gatherings and shared in their joys were now grappling with the horrifying reality that betrayal could lurk so close to home. As news of the crime spread, it ignited conversations filled with speculation and sorrow. The case quickly became the topic of hushed whispers at local cafes and grocery stores, as people tried to process the unimaginable actions of someone they thought they knew. For many, it served as a chilling reminder of how easily secrets can destroy lives and fracture the bonds of trust. In the months that followed, the impact of the tragedy rippled through Springfield. Community leaders organized forums to discuss the importance of open communication and the need for vigilance in relationships, hoping to prevent such betrayal from happening again. Candlelight vigils were held in Sarah's memory, where neighbors gathered to honor her life and support her grieving family. The town's annual events were tinged with sadness, as the absence of the Harrisons was felt deeply, casting a shadow over the once celebrated festivities. The case remained a poignant reminder in Springfield, a chilling example of how hidden truths could shatter lives and change the course of relationships forever. Families grew closer, yet remained wary, acutely aware that trust could be fragile and that the darkness of betrayal could strike when least expected. For the residents, the tragedy served not only as a cautionary tale but also as a call to foster honesty and openness within their own families, ensuring that they would not fall victim to the destructive power of secrets. As we conclude this tragic story, it's crucial to reflect on the profound impact that betrayal can have on families. This harrowing tale demonstrates how deep-seated secrets and hidden affairs can tear apart the very fabric of relationships, leading to devastating consequences that ripple through generations. If this story resonated with you, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Did you find the outcome just? What are your thoughts on the complexities of trust and betrayal? Your engagement helps us shed light on these important topics and continue bringing you more gripping true crime stories. Thank you for watching.